To T, congratulations on 50 years. It's such an amazing accomplishment.
The president got in the way.
Wheeler.
We've been working consistently with TEE on probably dozens and dozens of projects.
I would say in the last 20 years, we've probably worked on at least 30 projects.
Even as I've moved firms, every firm I've worked with has always used Engineering Enterprise.
I know our history with TEE spans back over 30 years, so we've been partnering for a very, very long time.
We're on so many projects with them, and they bring so much creativity and innovation to the table for us.
They always exceed expectations.
They exceeded our expectations.
Exceed expectations.
Exceeding expectations.
TE exceeded Rudolph and Sutton's expectations.
What I've enjoyed most about working with TEE is that there's a level of integrity and honesty when it comes to how they approach the work.
I would just say they set the bar pretty high as it relates to providing service. They're very, very reliable. They have very high quality documentation, and they're able to work with the clients to really understand their needs and goals.
Being an architect, you have to know a little bit about everything. So I know just enough about lighting and electrical and all those great components, but I can call them anytime and ask them any question, and they'll answer without making me feel like I don't know what I'm talking about.
I know how flat and black and white and linear engineering can be. And we see that response from a lot of our engineering partners over the years. But with TEE, we see something different. And that's what draws us to want to do business with them.
As I've grown in my career, I've gotten to grow alongside people at TEE in their careers as well. And that leads to really strong project outcomes.
They're very easy to work with. We get in sync very quickly. I mean, we do very tough projects, so there's not a lot of time to learn how each other is doing work when we're moving fast on very complex stuff.
I always can trust that TEE is going to come in with a mindset of how are we gonna solve this together.
They really actually think about what's right for the project, not just inside their scope, but how is it going to affect other trades.
You know, one of the reasons why we work with TEE so much is because of their expertise in electronic security, electrical engineering, low voltage, fire alarm, and sustainability and net zero energy.
What TEE has done a phenomenal job at in the last 50 years is adapting, constantly adapting. And I see TEE as their core model of business is to be on the cutting edge, to be an informed, reliable advisor and an engineer for their clients. And that they have confidence that when they recommend something, it's going to work. And it's going to work not only for the day that the building opens, but it's going to continue to work 20, 30, 40 years from now.
One of the things that's really most impressive about the engineering enterprise is their knowledge of electricity. It's crazy good. When we're working with them on the UC Davis Medical Center Cancer Center, Andy and the TEE staff were always so engaged out in the field, walking with us, helping us solve problems.
They were actually helped us come to a solution that we weren't really seeing inside of the documents when we were first presenting. But because they knew everything about the campus, they were actually able to ask a question with the owner, with us, and say, what about if we did it this way? And it opened the door for a conversation about something that was not only cost savings to the project, but a better solution altogether.
My first job with TEE was at the YOLO courthouse. Andy was the engineer of record.
That area has a cool old town feel, but this courthouse is big and it's grand and it's got a very prominent facade from the street. And more than anything, what I liked about that project was how diverse all of the systems were. And I learned a lot about courthouses and circulation between public corridors, private corridors, semi-private detention corridors, where the judges go and how the different people can't all interact together and how those occupancies are controlled was really interesting. There was also a lot of really advanced low voltage systems in that courthouse, and it was just a really great project. It was very successful.
It was just a good mix of the right people. And Andy was a great engineer, and that was the first time him and I had met. We hit it off very well. They're just a good relationship kind of building contractor for us to an engineer, and it was fantastic.
The Clifford Allenby building for the Department of General Services in Sacramento. That was the first net zero energy building for the state of California in downtown Sacramento. It was the first time that I worked with Scott Wheeler and got to know TEE very well. And they are very much advocates for the owner's goals for the project. And they're not afraid to challenge the status quo.
Right now, Turner and TE are working on the Capitol Annex replacement project, right in the heart of downtown Sacramento. Really, really unique, challenging project. And TE was instrumental in a lot of the exploratory work that we had to do to ready that project. And there was a lot of things you just couldn't figure out by looking at a set of drawings or by looking at the current equipment that was installed. And so there was a lot of flexibility required in, hey, we're gonna go into a space late at night, we're gonna cut a wire, and we're gonna see what happens. And we're all gonna rally around whatever stops working, making sure that it's back in action the next day, so that when our government's on the floor making law, we're not the reason that, the state of California is shutting down.
There's been a lot of good projects, but one that sticks out, I think, would be a project 1395 22nd Street. It actually was 3 buildings over a single parking garage, and the 8-story building was actually built into a hillside, so nothing actually stacked vertically, and it was a challenge getting all of our systems through that building. I think we had half a mile of bus duct in there, which is a lot, and took a lot of coordination. So that one stands out as a good one. I mean, it's funny that the challenging project is also the best project, right? Because that's what, when you're in the thick of it, it can be tough and you want to throw in the towel, but when you get to the finish line, you feel really satisfied.
One of my personal favorites, I guess, just because it's so close to me, is the project that we just finished, the Placer County Health and Human Services building, and it's been just a great all-around project. It was design build, so it was very collaborative. They were involved even at the very beginning stages doing the criteria docs, but then when we interviewed the design team that was selected, they were there at the table participating, and it's just nice to have a friendly face and somebody that you can rely on that's gonna get the job done.
My favorite project was the Fairmont Hotel renovation in San Francisco. So we renovated the entire hotel while it remained in operation. The coolest part of that project was actually working on the presidential suite, which is where the president stays when he's in San Francisco. The security features and some of the funky design was really cool.
My favorite project probably was the federal courthouse up in Sacramento, California. It's a high-rise building, 16 stories, I think, and about 750,000 square feet. And I did a lot different on that project than I had ever done up to that point. And I've kept that as my standard of design ever since then. So it changed how I looked at things and changed how I put my packages together. And it had a big impact on me, and it turned out to be a very successful project.
I'm going to say that one of my most challenging projects was working for a tribal casino. What was challenging about it is that they have a lot of stakeholders, and a lot of their stakeholders are non-conventional stakeholders in that they are members of the community, right? And there's a lot of them, and they all have equal weight and voice and opportunity to have opinions on things, which is great. But in this instance, they all had very strong opinions, and they're all very used to, probably winning most arguments, if you will. And so we would get a lot of conflicting direction. And with that conflicting direction or ideas or concepts, it made it hard to be successful as a group. And so that was a really challenging project.
My most challenging project since I've been here, I was fortunate enough in 2012 to work on Levi Stadium. At the time we were just calling it the new stadium in Santa Clara. What made it so challenging was the timeline. We started work in April of 2012, and we were wrapping up our permit submission on August 16th of 2012. So just a couple month turnaround for complete lighting design of an NFL stadium. We had a criteria that told us what kind of lighting to use in that building, and most of it was old technology. So we made a very big push on our end to push for LED lighting to save energy, to allow them to control the lights a little bit better. There's some apprehension for a client to embrace a new technology that hasn't necessarily been thoroughly tested. At the time, we were going through a code cycle change, which is always a big deal in our industry, to that basically required that we use LED lighting for most applications. And so it hadn't kicked in yet, but we knew it was coming, and we thought it would be important for them to embrace that new technology.
When the difficult conversations do have to happen, we know we're going to get past them. We know we're going to figure it out, and there's going to be a brighter side to that conversation, and it'll happen sooner than later.
I can always count on TEE to work through those difficult conversations, but also be on the ready with solutions, and almost walk into any situation, no matter how difficult it is, with a path forward.
They know the client really well in terms of their values and what they're looking for, not just like project requirements, but them as people. And they help immensely in saying, like, you know, we've worked with them in criteria. We might not even be on the project with them, but hey, this person likes having information presented this way. This individual likes being brought in early, but not like drug through the whole entire process. They want to know, they want you to work, and then they want you to come back. They're always bringing like a holistic value proposition to the project.
Engineering can be very linear, can be very black and white and kind of flat in response, right? But to have an engineer and coming up with practical, creative solutions that are a win for the project, a win for their client, of course, is really important to us and something we value.
We start to develop a communication and a trust and a respect for each other that makes it easier to overcome questions or problems or challenges that happen in the project, but it also allows us to celebrate when we successfully complete something together. And we are able to stand together and look at the projects we've done together over the years and feel a lot of pride and a lot of joy.
Love working with TEE.
Happy 50th anniversary, TEE.
Congratulations, well deserved, well earned, and we're so proud and honored to have this history of working with you in so many of those years.
We're looking forward to many more years together. So happy 50th TEE.
Congratulations, TEE, on 50 years. That is incredible. There's nothing but good times ahead.
Here's to another wonderful 50 years.
Happy 50th anniversary, TEE. Love working with you.
Congratulations on 50 years. That's an amazing accomplishment. You guys have earned all of it. You work hard, you provide great expertise, you exceed expectations. Looking forward to working with the folks at TEE, hopefully for another 50 years. Hopefully we retire before then, but congratulations.
They really like electricity so much. This is an example. They wanted just to run all the wires just down the corridor because they wanted to have electricity on display. And I thought it was a bad idea, and I said no, but Scott insisted. So, you know, we got some wires running because they wanted to have electricity on display. So I thought that was kind of interesting and unique.
Now that's said and done, you like it?
Not really. No, we tore it all out. That was a bad idea. Yeah. You're not going to put that on, are you?
It's definitely going in there.
Cool. Yeah, yeah.